I'm here with Nancy Hingham. I would say probably our foremost expert on all things emotional intelligence. I know. Hey, one popular topic we talk about a lot is what really drives behaviors in organizations and in leaders. So, CCL is a big believer in self-awareness, but there's something more than that. So, what does really drive people's behaviors? I'm just curious myself.
Well, I think it's a great question, and I think it's something to really focus a lot of attention on, because it is, in fact, the behaviors that have the impact. We talk a lot about intent and impact at CCL. Our SBI model is what is the behavior and what's the impact that it had. And when you have the impact that you want, it's awesome. But when you don't have the impact you want, you got to try to figure out what that's about, right? So what drives those behaviors? We also talk a lot about self-awareness, which is really important start to figuring out, well, how am I coming across? Am I aware of how I'm showing up? But when I think about what drives behavior, there's the thoughts that we have and there's the feelings that we have. Those things sort of tend to drive each other. Sometimes people will say values really drive behavior. I really actually would like to suggest something different. I think it's our beliefs that are the primary driver of our behaviors. And those beliefs can be beliefs that we have about ourselves, beliefs that we have about others. And beliefs actually, I think, will even trump values.
That's interesting. So I get the concept of beliefs, but give me, what specifically are you talking about when you say beliefs? Can you give me an example,
Right. So one example might be, I actually believe that I might not be smart enough for the people in this room, and so I'm going to hold back some of my thoughts because I don't want to look stupid when I speak up. That's a belief that drives a behavior, or the absence of a behavior, right? I mean, the behavior is I'm not speaking up when maybe I could or should be.
Okay. And I know you do a lot of coaching. Give me an example of how you would coach somebody or somebody recently that maybe you've worked with where you, beliefs really came to the surface.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm really thinking out loud here, but there's one leader that I'm working with his team, he and his team, and a leader who absolutely has great value on the development of his leaders and the leaders on his team. Although recognized after some exposure and some coaching that he wasn't fully behaving in a way that was really supporting the development of his team, and was able to recognize that while he really valued their development, there were some behaviors that were keeping him from fully exposing his and holding his team accountable to the kind of behaviors they needed in order to be more effective with the people that they were leading and managing.
And so his beliefs were there, but his behaviors were emerging?
Well, his values were really there around developing the leaders. His behaviors weren't fully matching those values. And so some of the beliefs that he had to start exploring were, well, what is keeping me from really holding them accountable in the way or asking them the questions that I need to ask them to help them become more effective leaders of their people. So he had to start exploring some of his own beliefs about himself and about some of them as well.
That's interesting. Well, you hear it first here that what really drives behaviors is belief. Nancy, appreciate it.
Yep.